we've talked about this thing and about Bronny James getting drafted, LeBron draft playing with his son. It was a great moment. Blah 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 blah. Then Stephen A. Smith, who I don't know, Bert, if I don't know if you know this.
Hmm.
I think it's his job to analyze sports, analyze storylines in the game.
Last time I
Also,
checked. Yep. Hmm.
and he is one of those, he's an antagonizer guy, right? Like he's not
I think just by base of what he does, I mean, technically we're antagonist. Like I think
yeah.
anytime there is criticism, there's going to be individuals antagonizing fan bases, players. I mean, it just criticism draws it, plain and
Yeah.
simple.
So LeBron decided to address Stephen A. Smith courtside. And it was funny because I didn't see it in real time. It came across my timeline and I saw LeBron going crazy and had a full blown debate on First Take on the sideline of a Lakers game. Like literally
Mhm.
left the huddle to confront Stephen A. Smith about some comments that Stephen A. Smith has been making, you know, throughout, I guess, the last few months since Bronny's entered the NBA. And obviously, again, it's Stephen A's job to talk about sports and analyze the game, analyze athletes, and he's a hot take artist. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
And so I guess LeBron caught Stephen A's gaze. The game was kind of close to being over. Stephen A was sitting close to the Lakers bench. LeBron saw him, approached him, and had a confrontation. That's Stephen A's word too. It wasn't a conversation, it was a confrontation. Basically, and you could, if you watch the videos, you could tell by the body language. It was a
Yeah.
confrontation.
Yeah.
It was heated, and LeBron basically summed it up saying, did the Will Smith keep my son's name out your mouth type deal.
So
And
dumb.
you know, I had mixed feelings. This was one of those rare occasions for me where I felt like everybody in this situation was right and
Mhm.
everybody in this situation was wrong. You know what I mean? And LeBron wanted to purposely, and this is the story of LeBron James, he wanted to make a scene in front of everybody. He easily could have called Stephen A or gotten in touch with Stephen A. He knows how to get in touch with Stephen A if he had such a big problem with it.
Yeah.
Stephen A, talking about LeBron's parenting skills, that's muddy water. But
Yeah.
I don't believe in lines. You have a platform, you can say whatever you want. People are already thinking that, in terms of, um, you know, how your son entered the league. Your son does not belong in the league, LeBron, and people are going to talk about that. Basically, what you're saying is nobody's allowed to criticize Bronny. And this thing that the fans do, the thing, and especially on our Instagram page,
Mhm.
oh, nobody's ever talked about a 55th pick this way. Well, you can't decide he's not a 55th pick in this. He's also not just the 55th pick. He's LeBron James's son.
Yeah, I mean, like when he was the 55th pick, we were here saying, why are we talking about this? And what we got from the same people who are saying you can't talk about the 55th pick like that, they're like, well, it's LeBron's son. That's why we're talking about it. So,
Right.
like, you can't have it both fucking ways, plain and
Yeah.
simple.
It's people have been vocal about their feelings about it too. Like we've talked about on the show, Bronny being
Yeah.
drafted, nepotism, blah, 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 blah. Listen, I'm with it. Get your son a job. But also you understand if you get your kid a job that and everybody else know he doesn't quote unquote deserve, there will be criticisms of that. The only thing that really would have fixed that is if Bronny was really good. People wouldn't talk about it as much. But he's not. He's out on the bench. He doesn't play in away games. Like he gets this special treatment. And this notion that we can't call that out is ridiculous. If I was Bronny and saw my dad go over there in the middle of a game or while the game is live, I don't care if the clock was ticking down or not. I would be embarrassed. I would be highly embarrassed. Your your son is a grown man and he's a professional athlete. He wasn't talking about your elementary school daughter. That'd be a whole different thing. If he
Yeah.
was like if you were posting a video and you and your daughter were working on jump shots and Stephen A. Smith said, "Well, I guess she won't be in the WNBA. She fucking sucks." Like that's she's in grade school. That's
Mhm.
different than your professional athlete adult son
Mhm.
who is now open to those criticisms. And what LeBron is doing is he's putting himself above everybody else. And
This is
again,
nothing new.
It's nothing. He's always done it. I called him selfish. Everyone's like, oh, what do you mean
I
he's
mean,
selfish?
the
He's,
spectacle when he announced he was going to Miami, right? Like, I
everything's
mean, look,
about
and
him. Yeah.
nothing against him, and as a player, obviously, we have to admit that he's a one of the best, if not the best, basketball player of a certain generation. I won't list our
Yeah.
generation because I know we have opinions on this, but and we've
Mhm.
shared them before. To me, you put it perfectly in the post. Griffey Senior never did this shit.
Nope.
All right, and not for nothing, it's got do you know who my dad is feel to it. And it's not even on Bronny. It's on
No.
LeBron. And it's like,
100%.
dude, if your dad was high up at a company that he didn't own, but got his son in there, like is yeah, it's got that like, don't you know who I am and who my father is type shit, like that you would find in a corporate environment. It's super annoying. It really is. Now, with that being said, I think it was handled wrong.
Yeah.
Like you said, they could have talked about this afterwards. No reason to leave the huddle about it and go cross court to have words about it. Like you have no other ways of reaching Stephen A.
Right.
Knowing that it was just gonna be talked about again later on, not necessarily just by Stephen A, but by everybody else who saw it. But I didn't realize because I didn't see initially what Stephen A originally said to make him so mad. And was it the
Nothing.
fact that he was just questioning his parenting skills?
He was questioning LeBron basically using his status to elevate a undeserving player in Bronny, which is a fair criticism.
Yeah.
Like, and I do, and listen, I get it. We're both dads. I understand LeBron wanting to
Yeah, I
defend
would
his
do the
son.
same.
I get it. I
But
do.
it's one of those conversations, or at least mentally for me, it'd be like, if I do this,
Yeah.
and it would be a conversation I would have with my son or daughter saying, listen, this is what's going to happen. If you're okay with it, this is the criticism you're going to face because of the position we're in, which means you're going to have
Yeah.
to work 10 times harder or just get thicker skin.
He said something to the effect he didn't want his kid in the media, and I'm like, that's impossible. It's
Dude, you're a
impossible to.
professional athlete.
You're the most
You don't
well-known,
get
one of
to
the most
pick and choose.
A
Yeah.
100%. So, I understand LeBron as a dad. I understand. I do, but I can understand and say that it's wrong as well. I also understand Stephen A. Stephen A. is basically saying, LeBron, you put a lot on your son's shoulders by the comments you made, and saying that, Bronny can play some guys that are in the NBA. Right? He said that, like
Yeah.
when Bronny was recovering from a cardiac event. When he was in Sierra Canyon, in high school, talking about he can play with guys in the NBA right now. That's you don't need to say that because people are already going to target him because he's your kid. But then when you say the stuff like, "Hey, my high school kid or my college kid who's not very good can play with guys in the NBA or beat guys in the NBA," and did LeBron as a father when Bronny was going into the draft put way too much pressure going into the situation, the way he supported Bronny, the way he kind of pushed for the Lakers to draft him, the way he kind of force fed this, hey, we're on this court together thing. You put a
Mhm.
target on your kid's head, and so you have to decide. I understand supporting your kid, but you also have to have caution because, especially when you're in a position like LeBron, you people may not be able to touch you, but they can touch your kid. You don't.
Yeah.
Whoa, hold on, my bad. You know what I
But
meant?
no, no,
Like
no,
get to
no. Yeah,
like
figuratively speaking, yeah.
figuratively speaking, they can get to you. They can get to your son. They may not be able to get to you, but it's again confronting Stephen A. in that manner. I understand, but to me, it was the wrong move, and you can't tell you can't tell a grown man to stop talking about your kid when your kid is a professional athlete. Like it's again, it's not your daughter who's in grade school, playing in the intramural leagues. That'd be weird if Stephen A. was,
Yeah.
breaking down game tape of an intramural league, middle school girls game. He's talking about a professional athlete who, by all accounts, doesn't belong there. And so Stephen A. Smith can do this.
Yeah, the whole thing is just weird to
Damn,
me.
Grant, man, that was the wrong time for you to join the
Right.
thing. It says zero ball knowledge. We weren't really breaking down X's and O's, but you have zero balls, so the world ain't fair, kid. Kick rocks.